Many times we have heard about bilingualism and the benefits related to it. Being bilinguals improves the mental functioning and it helps prevent from senile dementia, Alzheimer and disease causing mental decline. However, during this dissertation I would like to discuss a topic that has been little addressed until now. This is the relation between bilingualism and personality. Lastly, I will conclude this dissertation telling you about the cultural and business advantages of bilingualism. The language is not an inanimate object that we learn and own once for all, but there is something alive in it which helps creating our thinking skills and how we relate to the world. From this point of view, the language is closely linked to our emotions and our identity. According to many studies carried out before the 1960s, it was believed that bilingualism has detrimental effects on personality. The researcher Diebold argued that bilingualism not only would damage the emotional level of the child, but also it could cause alienation or anomie. Recently, researchers have spoken out in favor of bilingualism, proving that it does not cause any negative effects on personality. Apple Miscan argued that the psychosomatic illness which adults suffer from are not caused by their bilingualism, but by the social and cultural conflicts they experience as members of a discriminated against ethnic minority whose language and culture are not appreciated. It is important not to confuse this juxtaposition of personality and bilingualism with a form of deviant behavior or a multiple personality disorder, which are diseases linked to clinical psychology or psychiatry rather than an issue concerning the field of linguistics. Some studies, which analyze the psychological aspects of bilingualism, have shown that bilinguals mostly consider themselves different and they feel better when they have to switch between the two languages. Therefore, the use of a second language provides the opportunity to play a part. In fact, a language does not only have an expressive and communicative function, but also a role of game playing and pure pleasure. The simple pleasure of making sounds, the existing adventure of the language invention. According to many bilinguals, speaking a language different from their own not only makes them feel better, but also they feel they are changing their attitudes or behaviors when they use the second language. Yet, according to Grosjean, language is not involved in their change of behavior. In fact, he argues that a change in personality, when there is a switch between the two languages, is due to a change in the situation. It depends on the context in which they are used, leading to different feelings and attitudes. A greater openness on the existence of a relation between language and personality can be detected in Bettoni. After analyzing the personality, he maintains that it is possible and highly likely that the use of two languages gives way to different behaviors and identities that can be both personal and cultural. There is little existing evidence of which language bilinguals use in their mental activities or when they are under stress or in an emotional situation. Yet, it seems to be true that the many mental operations are language specific. In a survey, Kohlers reports that the bilinguals interviewed tend to do math in the language they had learned it. There are some activities that bilinguals have learned to do using a specific language, as is the case when praying. Many bilinguals can recite prayers only in one language, while doing so in another one would require a slower and more accurate translation. With reference to the language used when talking to oneself, it depends on the situation imaged or on the topic that one is thinking of. Renzo Titone, in one of his studies, asked bilinguals in which language do you think, and 70% of them said in both languages. This means that a bilingual will choose which language to use based on the person he or she is speaking to or on the situation he or she is thinking of. As for dreams, the bilinguals interviewed said that, while dreaming, they can use one or the other language. It is interesting to note that people who do not speak a language very well may find themselves fluently speaking it in a dream. It is also interesting to analyze the use of different languages in bilinguals when they are under stress or in an emotional state. Many bilinguals said that they can express their emotions only through one language. The reason why this happens is because the effective word content is greater in one language than in the other. Others said that the inability to speak about love in both languages can lead to the frustration and poor feelings in bilingual individuals. Often bilinguals switch from one language to another when they are tired, angry or excited. Also, stress can lead to interference, meaning that bilinguals have problems finding the proper word to use, which can lead to code switching. Although many researchers affirm that bilinguals have a split personality, Titone proposed that a change in personality is a simple shift in attitudes and behaviors corresponding to a shift in situation or context, regardless of the language spoken. A further key element of bilingualism is the development of the abstract thought. A bilingual child knows that for each word there are two different alternatives. Knowing that for each word there are two interpretations and there is always an alternative is the first thought leading up to creativity. Today, creativity is considered to be a fundamental element in order to have success in a knowledge society that is the world in which we live today. Together with creativity, the development of problem solving is also important. Problem solving, that is the capacity to find the best solution to the problem, is a mental process that is generated as a part of the habit of taking into consideration more options. Thanks to bilingualism, the habit of considering two languages and the possibility of choosing a specific linguistic code based on the speaker makes bilingual children more open-minded and able to find different solutions. In addition, they have proved to better cope with change. Lastly, the advantages of bilingualism also regard new job opportunities. Being able to communicate with foreign customers is a huge advantage since the job market is expanding all over the world. In fact, a Swiss study has proved that multilingualism contributes to 10% of Switzerland's GDP. This is due to the linguistic skills of the employees, which allows Swiss industries to make contact with industries all over the world. By contrast, in England, which has a strong attachment to its own language and is unwilling to invest in language learning, multilingualism contributes only to 3.5% of its GDP. According to a report submitted by the Economist Intelligence Study, 90% of managers have declared that a better communication with other countries would lead to an increase in the company's budget. Furthermore, 79% of the companies investing in the training of employees in English learning registered an increase in sales. As for the individual factor, in India, those who speak a second language have an increase of up to 34% in salaries, while in Canada, those who speak more than one language will have an increase of 1.5 or 3.8% in their salaries compared to monolinguals. From the model of the native speaker, we move to the figure of the intercultural speaker, that is the one who moves across borders and mediates different values, who is able to integrate himself with other cultures thanks to his cultural awareness and who knows how to communicate by the respect for individuals and equality for human rights. In conclusion, bilingualism as well as language education leads to better understanding cultural differences and to a greater appreciation for linguistic diversity.